What's up guys, I'm Josh Mosiman and welcome to another motocross action video. Today we have a giant news break to bring you guys as the Oakland Supercross has just been announced that it was canceled. 2023 Supercross season started off with a bang at Anaheim 1 with Eli Tomac taking the win in the 450 class even after going down in the middle of the race. Jet Lawrence, he got the win in the 250 class, and we were excited to see a mud race, but at least an exciting round this weekend at Oakland Supercross. Motocross, Supercross, it's all conditions, all weather types, but this weekend just too muddy in Northern California in the Oakland-Alameda Coliseum. And Dirtworks crew, they've been there since Sunday working on the track. They had Monster Jam in the stadium last weekend doing their Monster Jam competition. We thought that because the dirt was already in the stadium, they might be able to cover it, they might be able to work with it, but the rain has been consistent all throughout the week in Oakland, and finally Supercross has made the decision to cancel this weekend's race, round 2 of the Supercross season. It looks like they will reschedule it for February 18th. They have an open weekend there, so hopefully we'll be back at Oakland in just a few weeks. Long story short, we're still figuring out all the details here. We've heard rumors from a few different people and now it's been confirmed. Round 2 has been postponed and will be rescheduled. Right now, it's tough to see that. It's weird to start off the season with such an exciting round at Anaheim 1 and then have a weekend off already. But in general, I think it's overall in the best interest of our sport. It's in the best interest of even the riders, for guys like Eli Tomac and Jet Lawrence to have the red plate than to go to a round like Oakland where it's completely muddy. It's a little bit stressful for those guys. It's very stressful for the teams and especially stressful for the mechanics trying to make sure their bikes last through a tough mud race in some of the toughest conditions we have in motocross and supercross. We've seen lots of videos from the Dirtworks crew. I got to talk with 4 members of the Dirtworks crew last week. 2 of them I got on our This Week in MXA video, which just posted this morning. So although a little bit of that is old news, it is still very interesting to hear from the Dirtworks crew how they were able to manage the Anaheim 1 Supercross, how they were able to bring that dirt in, get the track built, cover it up enough to salvage an amazing track for racing despite all the rain we had here in Southern California. Now the big difference between Anaheim and Oakland, Anaheim, they had a small window where they were able to build the track while it was still dry weather and then cover it all up with tarps. This meant that all the water kind of flowed down to the bottom of the jumps, to the bottom of the berms and congregated there. And then when Supercross was bringing in all the pyrotechnics, the finish line stand, the team manager ramp, once they brought in all that stuff, that brought in a lot more water and made it harder for them to pump the water out of the stadium, which brought water to the flat spots of the track, like the starting line, the start straightaway, in between the jumps. That's where those soft sections kicked in. That's where the ruts and kind of the curbs and the holes that all the guys were talking about in the press conference, that's where that came in because all the water came down to the bottom. The difference at Oakland is that it was Monster Jam last weekend. They have to turn that Monster Jam course into a full-on Supercross track. Now in our video, the Dirtworks crew, Alex Gillespie, he said that they had a revised track map for Oakland Supercross, which tamed down the track quite a bit to make it not so crazy, and so that way it would be easier for riders to jump jumps, or at least more fun to watch if they weren't jumping the jumps. I personally know firsthand what it's like to race a muddy Supercross. I raced the 2018 Seattle Supercross, which is a complete mud fest. I did it in the 250 class and I made the main event, which is pretty cool. That was the first of 2 main events I made in my 1 season of Supercross racing. But it's definitely a challenge to ride out there with how deep and muddy it is and with how steep the jumps are, how steep the whoop sections are. So Oakland Supercross is canceled still. Be sure to check out our This Week in MXA video on our YouTube channel. Also, I want to highlight a couple races that have been canceled in the past. As we know, the whole second half of the 2020 Supercross season was canceled due to the COVID pandemic. There were 7 races canceled: Indianapolis, Detroit, Seattle, Denver, Foxborough, and Las Vegas, and they ended up finishing all 7 of those rounds in Salt Lake City. So thanks to Salt Lake for letting us finish out the 2020 season. A couple other races that we can think back on that were canceled in the past, the Rodney King riots at the LA Coliseum and in Los Angeles in 1992. That caused the Supercross to cancel the July 11th race. Actually, no, it caused them to cancel the race and then hold it a few weeks later 5 weeks later on July 11th, 1992. That race was delayed, as mentioned, because of the Rodney King riots, and they actually moved it from a nighttime race to a daytime race inside of the LA Coliseum, and that was the year that Stanton won the championship and Damon Bradshaw just missed out on it. Also, we look back to Troy, Ohio in 2003 when the Pro Motocross race was canceled there. It was scheduled to be September 6th and 7th, and it was canceled due to heavy rains and flooding in the area. Ricky Carmichael, he had already won the championship at that point, so it didn't make a difference whether they raced the 250 class or not. But the 125 class was still yet to be decided and ended up going to Grant Langston, who had the points lead with 1 round left. He had a 7-point lead on Ryan Hughes and a 30-point lead on James Stewart in the 125 class. So there's not a lot of cases when we go back in the history book to look at races that have been canceled, especially because of weather. Especially with Supercross, usually they're able to build the track, cover it, and then salvage with whatever they can on race day. But this time they were not able to build the track, and it doesn't look like there'll be any clear in the weather. No moments in the weather where we'll be able to get out there and build the track. So Dirtworks crew, they've already been up there, they've already worked nonstop trying to manage it, and unfortunately Oakland Supercross has been canceled, postponed, but we're looking forward to what happens next. All right guys, so that's pretty much the gist of it. Oakland Supercross postponed, rescheduled. We're looking forward to the next race at San Diego coming up in just a week and a half from now. Looking forward to that. Also Anaheim 2 the following week. So good times. Thank you guys for tuning in to Motocross Action Magazine. If you haven't yet, since we're not going to get our Supercross fix this weekend, be sure to check out our YouTube channel and our website. We got some cool interviews. If you haven't seen them already, I talked to Eli Tomac before the race, and one of my favorite things is when he told me his favorite technique drill, which is also my favorite technique drill, kind of the same thing there. And also I got to talk to Cooper Webb before Anaheim 1. He explained just, he was very open and honest about his bike setup and how it's changed from 22 to 23. Also talked to Ken Roxon about jumping on the Suzuki before Anaheim 1, so those videos are on our YouTube channel and on our website. And then after the race, I talked to Jet Lawrence and Eli Tomac. I'm doing my best. I got 2 interviews with Eli Tomac, and I'm doing my best to poke and prod at him and try to get him to open up and loosen up. And after he won Anaheim 1, it seemed like he did loosen up in that interview, so be sure to check those out on our channel. Thank you guys for tuning in. Stay tuned to motocrossactionmag.com for more news and updates on what's going on with the Supercross season. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.